Now we're doing steaming. Steaming means cooking with steam from boiling water or stock. Foods can be steamed include fish, rice, vegetables. No fat is added, and because there is no direct contact with water, the veg will keep more of their taste, colour, texture and nutrients than if they'd been boiled. This makes them the healthiest way to cook. However, food may not have such much flavour compared to, say, fried or roasted food. Steaming is a gentle way to cook, so it's a good method for delicate foods such as fish, but not for tough meats. Now here's a picture of a steamer, which you can buy like a more, and you can actually see it actually inside, and the water's in the bottom, and you can have it in different layers. Now, when steam heat is transferred through conduction from the pan to the water, through the food, and convection through the steam. So I've got one here, so I'm just going to show you it here. So I've got a steamer, but my steamer is slightly more hard to do loads of different things. So a nice simple way, I'll show you the nice simple way first, is just some cauliflower here. And I put some water underneath, boiled it, and now that's cooked. And then you don't lose so many nutrients. That's an easy way to do it. This is a more high-tech way, and it's got some steam, so I'll go like this and you'll hear it, you can see it just now. I've just done that. When it finishes, it'll be really high. So I have to wait for it to come out. And it comes out, and if you can look inside, it's got like a basket in it. Yeah, it's got a basket, and I can lift the basket out with like the curl in there. So then it's only about half a cupful of water in the bottom, and then it won't lose its nutrient. And this can do it under pressure, and water normally boils at 100 obviously, but under pressure it actually boils quicker. That's why it's faster. Now, that's the steaming. Oh, other things for steaming are, if you had a Christmas pudding, you could put it in here, in like a china bowl, and that's also steaming. Another way to steam is actually in like a container. So these are kippers, and these are fish like herrings, and you can actually boil them in the bags. That's a bit like steaming, even though the steam hits them indirectly because it hits the plastic, but that's still steaming them. So the next thing we've got is roasting. So I'm just going to come back over here. We've got some stuff roasting and baking in the oven. So most people struggle to know the difference between, let's do it here, just going to fit the page, baking. So we're going to do baking first. So baking, cook foods using dry heat, usually in the oven. Lots of different types of food can be baked. Bread, pastries, cakes, pies, tarts, potatoes, baked potatoes obviously. Whole fishes like sea bass or salmon. Meat is also baked, e.g. meatloaf, casseroles, although large pieces of meat are usually roasted. Because hot air rises, the top of the oven is often hotter than the bottom. That's why foods cook quicker at the top of the oven than at the bottom shelf. Modern electric ovens are usually fan assisted or convection ovens. They have a fan inside which helps circulate the hot air around the oven. They're much more useful. Foods bake more evenly because all parts of the oven are the similar temperature. So pastry, definitely, that makes it sort of nice and even brown. The oven heats up quickly and your food cooks quickly, so they are usually less energy. A wide variety of foods can be baked. The outside of the food comes brown and crisps up, which looks and tastes nice. It's quite healthy because no extra fat is added, and solid fats in the foods often leave as the food is baked. Baking foods can take a long time. Food can become, these are the disadvantages by the way. Baking food can take a long time, foods become dry. It also uses a lot of energy as it requires the oven to be kept at a high temperature for a long time. So that's all. Let's have a look else. And baked foods like fish and potatoes inside foil help to keep the moisture in making them nice and tasty. So I quite often do chicken and wrap it in foil, and that keeps it moist, like if it's stuffed. Heat is transferred around the oven by radiation and convection, and through the food by conduction. So obviously the outside of the potato will heat the inside of the potato up through conduction. Also the metal dish will get hot, will also be conduction. So there's a big difference between roast and fried, roast and baked. So I'm going to show you that first, and I'm going to go back to read the page. So I've got a jacket potato here, which is just going to show you a potato. So this is a baked potato. think you can see, I'll just move that up. So that's a baked potato. I've also got one coming out of the microwave here, which is a microwave potato. And you'll see they look quite a lot different. This one will be a lot lighter, even though they were the same weight roughly going in, there'll be different weights. So this is a baked potato because it's not cooked with fat. So roast potatoes obviously have fat on, so this one will be a lot lighter. Oh, you can't see that, I'll just move that up, sorry. That's 170, just show you that. Oh, where are we going to here? That's 173 grams. And this one is 235 grams. They're about 260 when I put them in. So you can see the baked one lost quite a lot of its moisture. Probably didn't need cooking quite so much, the baked one. That's one reason why it's lost so much. But it depends, and the skins are better on them than that. So now we've got some, we're talking about roasting now. So other things that are baked, obviously cakes are baked. So we've got a cake there, as you can see. That's like an upside down cake, so that's a baked sponge. So that's also cooked, and it goes brown through caramelization and dextrinization. So the next thing we've got is roasting. So obviously roast potatoes or roast meat. So we've got different roasted vegetables here. So you don't have to just roast potatoes. Obviously I think potatoes are the most well-known vegetable to be roasted. But I've also got carrots, onion, peppers, and sweet potatoes. So there's loads of different vegetables. You can do courgettes, aubergines, whole tomatoes. They can all be roasted as well. So as you can see, there's loads of roasted things. So now we're going to go back to the roasting page. That's the last one. So just going to get the roasting page. Here we go. So here's the roasting page. Food is added to food when it's roasted. So roast potatoes are basically potatoes, and I parboiled them and then put some fat on them. Like baking, roasting uses dry heat from the oven. Roasting is usually done at a higher temperature than baking, so foods cook and brown more quickly. Fat is often added to the outside of the food, potatoes or veg, to help them go brown and stay moist. Fat can be added, or the fat that has melted from the food, e.g. chicken, can be put back on top. This is called basting. So chicken, most of the fat is in the skin. So when you put a chicken in the oven, if it's got just the breast with no skin on, you need to brush it with oil or put a little bit of oil, otherwise it'll be quite dry unless it's covered. But with the skin on, that will keep it moist anyway. Common types of foods that can be roasted are large cuts of meat, such as leg of lamb or a cut of beef or a whole chicken, potatoes, vegetables, root vegetables, peppers and onions, which I've got, and chestnuts on an open fire. So there's a picture of some vegetables, and also parsnips. I haven't got any of them today. Some advantages of roasting: extra fat and a high temperature helps to brown and crisp the outside of food, which looks and tastes delicious. The fat from roasted meat can also be used for other foods, potatoes or fried bread. Roasted foods can easily be tasty and moist. Roasting can produce meats with a rare underdone centre, which a lot of people like, especially beef and lamb and duck also. So this is some disadvantages. Roasted food isn't always as healthy, as extra fat is often added. Just like baking, it takes a long time to roast food and uses a lot of energy. Only certain types of meat, e.g. beefsteak, can be served rare because of the dangers of food poisoning. And that's dry frying. So the one difference between this, obviously the jacket potato is far healthier than the roast potatoes, but most people prefer roast potatoes, unless you put something on the jacket potato which has added fat, because most people would have butter on them or something. But the skins are also high in fibre. Very good. So now we're doing stir frying. As you can see here, we've got chicken, lots of different vegetables. And by stir frying, you cook it in a minimal amount of fat and you stir it a lot. Normally it has quite a high proportion of vegetables in here. So as well as mange tout, carrots, peppers, onions, chicken, and to flavour it, we've got some different things here. So we've got some like chow mein spices, we've got soya sauce and everything in, and we've got some garlic and ginger that went in it as well. So that's flavoured it. So just going to read it out from the book now. Stir frying tends to be done in a wok, a large rounded base frying pan, coated in a small amount of oil, making it pretty healthy. Stir-fry foods include noodles, vegetables, tofu, and small pieces of meat and fish. Foods cook very quickly and need to be moved around the wok all the time so they don't burn. They're cooked quickly. Vegetables keep more of their nutrients. Stir-fry meals tend to have more vegetables than meat. Some use no meat at all, making them a healthy option. Stir-fry and shallow frying both increase the flavour of food. I just have to read out from here. Flavour of food, because of some of the fat is absorbed by the food as it cooks. Foods like onions also caramelise when they're fried, making them taste sweeter. So tofu, by the way, that's one thing you might not know an expert. So here's some tofu, which is made from soya bean curd. So vegans can have this, and also it's gluten free, this one here. So this would be good for a vegan option, like a stir fry for a vegan. So as well as stir frying, the next one is, I'm just going to move that out of the way to show you the next one, is dry frying. So dry frying is, one thing is we've got some spices here, so I'm going to dry fry these spices and I'm going to grind them in a grinder, and I'm going to show you the grinder. This is a coffee grinder or a spice grinder, so it's a grinder here, and we're going to grind the spices up. So by drying frying them, they have more flavour to them. Dry fry, and also we can dry fry some nuts. So we've got some walnuts here, so this is going to go on top of the stir fry. The spice is just going to get ground up to have like a curry powder, and in here the spices we've got are, I'm just going to lower this pat down because the last one is either mince or bacon. So if you have mince which has 20% fat in it, you can dry fry it, so you can put it in a frying pan with no oil at all, and the oil goes. So I can just put some in here. You might be able to hear that. This is quite crunchy bacon, so you don't need any extra fat in there. You can just leave that and the fat will come out of it. Anyway, in the spices, I'll show you some of the spices. We've got some coriander seeds, fennel seeds, cumin seeds, more aniseed. This is aniseed called star aniseed. But we've also got some more aniseed here. This is don't have aniseed. Peppercorns. We just dry fry that for about 5 minutes, let it cool down and grind it, and it'll have a stronger flavour. For the stir fry, by the way, we've also got some noodles, so that's the carbohydrate part of the meal. So now I'm just going to go to the dry frying. Dry frying. So as you can see, the three. A mince would be the other main one that you would dry fry. But there are some other things that you can dry fry. So just going to read it here. You can try and read it at the same time. Dry frying means cooking in a pan without fat or oil. You can dry fry foods. You can dry fry foods that contain natural fat, e.g. minced beef and bacon. As the food heats up, the fat inside the food melt into the pan and begin to cook the food. Nuts, seeds and spices can also be cooked in this way. Although this method is usually called dry roasting, this helps to release oils and bring out more flavour of the food. Using medium heat is important at the start of the cooking to allow the fat to melt without burning. When the fat melts, the temperature can be increased as the fat starts to fry the food. So this is obviously healthy. So let's have a look. When dry frying, meat is transferred by conduction from the cooker to the pan and also through the food. And there's some advantages here. No extra fats or oils are added, making this method healthier than other frying methods. Dry roasting can be used to give a more distinct aroma to nuts, seeds and spices. And this is some disadvantage. It takes longer than other frying methods to cook meat thoroughly because lower temperatures are needed at the start. It can only be used for a small range of food types compared to other cooking methods. So that's a few differences. And you can put nuts, for instance, these nuts here, you can put them in the oven. So you have to be careful because they brown very quickly. Things like almonds, they look white, but you can roast them. A bit like peanuts. Peanuts are roasted, by the way. When you have them, like the salted ones, they're normally roasted. If you buy them in the shells, they're a lighter colour. And by roasting them, they give them a more sort of more of a nutty flavour, as you probably, thank you.